Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Dialogue. I'm Taimur Shamil. Today is an exclusive program, a special program with our journalist friends from Afghanistan. Pakistan and Afghanistan both have been fighting terrorism and extremism for the last 15 years or so, more than 15 years. And people in both Afghanistan and Pakistan have suffered the most in this war on terror. Still, people on both sides and the governments, Pakistan and Afghanistan, they are fighting the terrorism and extremism. We are together to fight this mess of extremism and terrorism. We have many things in common. We have culture in common. We have our values in common. We also have our language in common as well. There's Farsi-speaking people in Afghanistan. There are Pashto-speaking people in Afghanistan. And we also have Farsi and Pashto-speaking people in Pakistan as well. What are the common and commonalities? What are the common traits, common values, both in Afghanistan and Pakistan? How can we fight the common foe, that is terrorism and extremism? And something more is very special about today's program, that all our special guests in this program are from north of Afghanistan. And I think very few people in Pakistan know about the north of Afghanistan. We'll have a discussion on Pakistan-Afghanistan relations, on our common values, on our common traits, language, religion, and also on security and better relations in the future. Let me introduce our guest today. Our first guest is Mr. Muhammad Naeem Tahir Qadri. He is CEO, Mitra TV from Afghanistan. Welcome to the program, sir. Our second guest is Mr. Zabi Fitrat. He is head of National TV. Welcome to the program. Our third guest is Mr. Bashir Ansari. He is head of Ariana TV from Afghanistan. Welcome to the program, sir. Mr. Naeem Tahir, starting with the Pakistan-Afghanistan relations, before the program, we were discussing that this is after a long time, after maybe 15 years, that journalists, especially young journalists from Afghanistan, are visiting Pakistan. How do you feel and how is the experience in Pakistan?
First of all, thank you so much, Taimur, for inviting us to your very good program. And we are quite privileged, actually, to be here in PTV, which is widely watched in Afghanistan, I would say. Well, I and my colleagues, I think it has been quite long time, you know, since we came to Pakistan. For myself, it has been, the last time I was here was 2007. So it's 10 years, a very long time. And I would say it should have happened quite earlier. But anyway, so...
it's never too late, this.
Exactly, it's never too late, yeah. So, first of all, you know, our first impression, or my first impression, was really good. When we were landing yesterday, all we could see was green areas, tall buildings, progress, women, and educated people, very hospitable people. So something, you know, we will carry it out with us back to Afghanistan. You know that Afghanistan has been changing. You know, there has been a kind of transition going on in Afghanistan over the last 15 years. And a new generation of young Afghans have been rising up in the country, which is our generation. But what we see is a kind of gap, you know, between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Right. All we can see in the Pakistani media, or, you know, whatever we hear, is about suicide attacks, politics, you know, petty politics sometimes, bad news sometimes, of course, and same likewise in Afghanistan. However, the two countries are like the two sides of a coin.
So there are a lot of good things, obviously, positive things happening in Pakistan and in Afghanistan. Exactly. And your point is that we should be discussing the rest of the good things that are happening in both countries.
True. Actually, Afghanistan, as I said, is not the land of only bad news. So we have got life there. We have got, you know, a very good educated generation rising up and going to universities. The part that we come from, the north of the country, I think when we have been speaking over the last 2 days with our good Pakistani friends, some of them, they don't even know, you know, what language is spoken there, who we are bordering with, you know, what the traditions are back there. So I think it has been really eye-opening for both sides. And we really hope that we establish a kind of bridge so that the two countries can come together, close together. I think put the politics aside. Yes. Even let's think about the common things that the two sides have.
And there are many common things, Mr. Fitrat, between Pakistan, the people of Pakistan and the people of Afghanistan. Tell us about the new generation, young generation in north of Afghanistan. What is Pakistan's perception over there, and how do you think that we can improve it?
خب طبیعی است که نگاه مردم افغانستان مگر در میان هر دو ملت حساب بکنیم نگاه مثبت هست. من فکر میکنم بیشترین مشکل در سطح حکومت‌های دو کشور وجود داره. اما هیچگاهی مشکلات در سطح هر دو ملت و هر دو مردم هر دو کشور وجود نداشته.
I need to translate.
No, we'll translate. Thank you for translating.
I think that's again, you know, one diversity of languages in Afghanistan that we speak. So, Mr. Zabiullah Fitrat says that, you know, if you think generally, there is no problem at all between the people or the nations of the two countries. What still remains as, you know, a problem is actually between the states rather than the people.
با وجودی که در نسل گذشته افغانستان ممکن پایان یافتن ممکن مجادله بر سر مشکلاتی که میان دو کشور وجود داشت، بخصوص مشکلات مرزی، این ایده یا تفکر وجود داشت، اما در نسل نو تفکری است که این مشکلات باید از راه گفتگو و به عنوان یک منازعه پایان یافته پذیرفته شود.
Yeah, the older generation, perhaps, you know, they had rows and disputes over loads of things. But the younger generation, they think quite differently. And their perception is that we need to bring an end to the disputes that the two countries especially have on the borderline. That the younger generation, you know, they believe that it's a kind of sorted out issue.
Right, great.
و نگاه نسل جدید من فکر میکنم به این است که ما بر دوستی دو کشور بیشتر تلاش بکنیم و بتونیم که پایه های دوستی هر دو کشور بیشتر از پیش مقاوم بسازیم و آن قسمی که هر دو کشور با تروریسم و مشکلات جنگ و نابسامانی هایی که امروز در جهان روبرو هستند نیازمند به مبارزه مشترک هستند. نسل نو به فکر میکنه که ما باید این مبارزه را به صورت مشترک انجام بدیم و بتونیم که از این مرحله به خوبی گذر بکنیم و هر دو کشور بتونن به رفاه و سعادت بیشتر دست پیدا بکنن.
Yeah, the two countries actually, you know, the younger generation, what we believe back in Afghanistan, especially in the north, they stress on bridge building between the two nations, and they believe that the only thing that we have to sort it out is the friendship. You know, we need to bring the nations together, and friendship is actually the ultimate solution to the problems. And you know, both countries actually, they are fighting extremism and terrorism. So that's why perhaps it's based for in the best interest of the two nations and the two generations that they come together and fight against it jointly.
Mr. Ansari is the head of Ariana TV. How do you think, what role can media play in bringing a better understanding of both countries, let's say, in Afghanistan? How do you think that journalists from Pakistan and Afghanistan can bring a better understanding of the two cultures and the two societies?
ممنون. دقیقا ما اولین بارم است که میایم پاکستان و قبلا چیزهایی در موردش شنیده بودم و از طریق تلویزیون دیده بودم. این خبرنگارهاست، این مسئولین نهادهاست، از رسانه هاست که میتونن بیشتر روابط بهتر بسازن و ارتباطات بیشتر شود. خبرنگارهای پاکستانی بیان به افغانستان و از به پاکستان بیان، از پاکستان بیان به افغانستان تا تصویر واقعی زندگی مردم هر دو کشور را به تصویر بکشن. دقیقاً من چیزهایی که در مورد پاکستان قبلا شنیده بودم حالا میبینم که دقیقاً دستهایی از کار میکنه و روابط هر دو کشور بیشتر بخیم ساخته.
So Mr. Ansari says that this is my first time in Pakistan, and I'm quite impressed actually to see absolutely a different country what I was actually told back in the country. So I can see that there is a kind of, you know, wrong propagandas and rumors going on in both countries. And he says that, you know, it is now the responsibility of the young generation, especially young journalists and the CEOs like us, for both countries actually to travel around, for Pakistanis to come to Afghanistan and for Afghans to come back here, to talk with each other, to sit and, you know, negotiate so that they can come to a kind of, you know, common ground. They can find a common ground to find all the speculations and superstitions, you know, back in both countries.
And you personally, do you think that you yourself, all of you, all of us, we are the young generation, new generation of journalists, do you think that the next coming generation of reporters and journalists should also collaborate? We expect that journalists should come from Afghanistan to Pakistan. They can have exchange programs. Here in Pakistan, they can go over there to Afghanistan, and that can help the next generation of journalists and the young people to understand the values of both countries.
I definitely do, to be honest. I mean, I'm running a TV channel with 150 young people. Like, perhaps I'm the oldest one in my channel. All my other people, they are like at the age of 17 to 25. So now you can imagine, like, girls and boys. So 50% of the channel, they are girls. I do believe that the future, the generation to come after us, I think they will have a totally different perspective. Because back in Afghanistan, for us, politics, I think we normally put politics aside, to be honest, especially the petty politics. So what we do believe is a kind of common understanding. We believe that we need to talk, we need to negotiate, because we have a common language, we have traditions in common, we have values in common. You know, Mr. Iqbal Lahori, yesterday Mr. Fatrad was saying that, you know, you can find his book almost in every library back in Afghanistan. So why should we not focus on that rather than, you know, common things. So that's why I do believe that, you know, this mutual cooperation will continue, and hopefully with the cooperation of the both governments, or at least the departments of information and culture, so we can, you know, bring them to get closer.
Mrs. Zubi, you just mentioned about this whole thing, and this is very pleasant to hear that there in Afghanistan, girls and boys and young generation of journalists, they are working together for the betterment of the society, and women have equal opportunities in, let's say, in TV channels and in journalism. Tell us about that.
مورد سهم خانم‌ها و جوان‌ها بگوییم که گفتین مساویانه با هم یک جای کار میکنن و یک نسل جدید در حال رشد است.
خب افغانستان پس از سالهای جنگ‌های اخیر، خصوصا پس از روی کار آمدن حکومت جدید، تفاوت‌های فاحش را در زندگی مردم شاهد است. از جمله آزادی‌هایی که مردم افغانستان به دست پیدا کردن، خصوصا نسل جوان، یکی از مزیت‌ها هم همی است که خانم‌ها واقعا میتونن در کنار هم کار بکنن، آزادانه زندگی بکنن و از امو امتیازات حقوق شهروندیشان برخوردار شوند.
Well, over the last couple of years, especially after the formation of the new government, Afghanistan has been witnessing lots and lots of changes, especially in terms of freedom of expression. Like in our media outlets, we have got equal rights, both for men and women. And you see, like, you know, women working alongside, shoulder to shoulder with Afghan men in our TV channels, and they actually enjoy the same rights and privileges that a man does.
Right. ما زنان را فعلا در قدرت حکومت داریم، در رأس نهادها و ادارات داریم. زنان در نهادهای حکومتی کار میکنن، در رسانه‌ها کار میکنن، در رسانه‌ها ظاهر میشن، فعالیت‌های اجتماعی دارن، تجارت میکنن، شغل آزاد دارن و در زمینه‌های مختلف زنان در افغانستان فعال هستند و محدودیت‌های آنچنانی که در گذشته وجود داشت، فعلا این محدودیت‌ها در شهرها بسیار کاهش پیدا کرده، اما طبیعی است که در یک جامعه سنتی در اطراف هنوز وجود داره، ولی به عمو پیمانه کار هم برای از بین بردن محدودیت‌ها ادامه داره.
Well, we are talking about a new Afghanistan where men and women work together. We have got women in very leading posts in the government positions. We have got women as businessmen, businesswomen. We have got women, you know, working in social and freedom in free media and other sectors in the country. So that shows that we are coming out of a traditional society, especially in the bigger cities. You know, the atmosphere on women, it is completely changing. But of course, we have problems, you know, in our some of our, you know, rural areas, and we are talking, of course, about an Afghanistan where people are transforming from a traditional Afghanistan into a modern one.
Right. Mr. Ansari, talking about the north of Afghanistan, the general perception obviously about Afghanistan is that Afghanistan has been fighting world's most renowned terrorist organizations, obviously. Is it safe for the young journalists, for the young people to report on politics, on culture, on security in Afghanistan, and especially in the north of Afghanistan?
دقیقا این را میپذیریم که افغانستان یکی از خطرناکترین کشورها برای کار روزنامه‌نگاری است، اما شمال افغانستان امن‌تر است. حضور به عنوان خبرنگار در رسانه‌ها خیلی ها پررنگ است. ما نسبت به جنوب افغانستان، نسبت به شرق افغانستان، نسبت به مرکز افغانستان موارد خشونت در برابر خبرنگارها را بسیار اندک داریم در شمال افغانستان و خبرنگارها در شمال افغانستان در هر کجایی که باشند مشکلاتشان اندک است، اما مشکلات امنیتی در بعض نقاط وجود دارد، اما آزادی بیان به شکل شاید بایدش وجود دارد.
Before translating, I should add that Mr. Ansari is also the head of the Afghan Journalist Safety Committee in the north of Afghanistan. So I think that's the right question from him.
So he knows inside.
He knows exactly.
What is going on.
So Mr. Ansari says that we do have problems back in Afghanistan, but you know the part that we report from the north of the country, it's absolutely safe, and it's, you know, called a safe haven, especially for the journalists, especially, you know, working there, and for females as well. So that's why, even though we encounter with problems, but of course not with restrictions or censorships, we don't face that in the north of the country. But overall, of course, you know, in other parts of Afghanistan, in comparison to the south or east, north of the country is very safe for the journalists to work, and it's absolutely no problem to report on the issues that you just mentioned.
Right. We'll continue our discussion after this break. And after this break, we'll discuss about the gaps that are there between both countries. In the last 15 years, the Pakistan-Afghanistan relations have seen ups and downs, certainly, but things are improving day by day, and that is also because of the young people and journalists who are here in this program. We'll discuss about how can we improve the trust between both countries and how can we fight the common foe that is extremism and terrorism. After this break, stay with us. Welcome back. Today is an exclusive and special program with our journalist friends from Afghanistan, and especially from the north of Afghanistan. This program actually brings the understanding of how the journalists are working in the north of Afghanistan and how peaceful the north of Afghanistan is, and generally how people in Afghanistan and Pakistan can work to bring betterment in the relations of both countries. Mr. Tahir, talking about the Pakistan and Afghanistan relations, diplomacy obviously plays a very key role. Do you think that media can also have an impact on better diplomacy between both countries, having a better coverage of each other's country, having a better coverage of the issues of the people at the grassroots level? I'm not talking about specifically politics and that government. People, do you think that can have an impact on the diplomacy and specifically and consequently on the relations of Pakistan and Afghanistan?
I definitely do believe, Mr. Taimur, over the last 15 years, Afghanistan has been witnessing an explosion or mushroom of TV channels in the country. We have got more than 100 TV channels back in Afghanistan where people are passionately watching all these TV channels. So I do believe that the younger generation, the younger journalists, I think they can play a very, very important role. What we see as a kind of sign of a bad sign, to be honest, is that both countries have been ignoring this sort of privilege that they have, the media, that they can play a very important role. Politics, we need to put it, I think, aside, because people back in Afghanistan, they are also tired of politics. So they need some sort of soft machine or weapon that they can talk to each other. For example, the one that we are just, sitting here and talking with each other. This is, what we need more of it back in Afghanistan or here in Pakistan. And I think there are loads of good stuff and good opportunities that we can have in common. We have in common and we can discuss and we can, came to a kind of conclusion that finally, ultimately, what's important for both countries is that, security in Afghanistan is security for Pakistan. Stability in Pakistan is stability for Afghanistan.
Right.
So I think that's our generation knows it.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Fitrat, what is the impact of media coverage on the policy making in Afghanistan? Is media free to cover the events that take place in Afghanistan? And what is the impact of that coverage on the diplomacy, on the policy making in Afghanistan?
نقش رسانه‌ها در ساختن سیاست، در پوشش سیاست چه قسمت‌ها آیا رسانه‌ها آزادی کامل دارن برای پوشش این مسائل؟
طبیعی است که افغانستان در بیش از یک دهه اخیر آزادی بیان به عنوان یک ارزش کلان حقوقی شناخته و به او پابند است. رسانه‌های آزاد در افغانستان وجود دارند و فعالیت میکنند و تاثیرگذاری رسانه‌ها واضح است که در جهان یک تاثیرگذاری فوق‌العاده داره و در افغانستان هم تاثیرگذاری بسیار واضح و روشن هست. تاثیرگذاری رسانه‌ها در همه زمینه‌ها بخصوص بر سیاست افغانستان بسیار واضح است.
Yeah, over the last 1 decade, Afghanistan has been witnessing again an explosion of free media in the country. Of course, we have problems back in Afghanistan, but the media, that is one of the biggest achievements of our people and our government. That we have had, we have massive media outlets which they cover everything, from the policy makings to current affairs and to entertainment. So that's why I would say that with some problems on the ground, still we think that we are making a huge difference in reporting and in covering issues back in the country. And
do you see change at the grassroots level? Do you meet people at the grassroots level and they tell you about the media coverage and the way you are discussing the issues of a layman, a common man in Afghanistan?
آیا مردمای محلی و عادی هم با این نظر هستند که واقعا در رسانه‌ها پوششش تغییرات آمده؟
کلاً مخاطبین رسانه‌ها عام مردم افغانستان هست و طبیعی است که عام مردم به این باور هستند که رسانه‌ها تاثیرگذاری دارند. با اون لحاظ است وقت یک فرد از جامعه دچار یک مشکلی میشه. پیش از همه باید فکر میکنه که به کدام رسانه باید دسترسی پیدا بکنه تا بتونه مشکلش بیان بکنه. این خودش نشان میده که رسانه ها قادر به این هستن که هم مشکل مردم انعکاس بدن و هم حکومت نقد بکنه، هم عملکرد افراد و شخصیت هایی که در جامعه تاثیرگذاری دارن همه یا را نقد بکنه و نقد کردن از بدون شک تاثیرگذاریشان بر روال عادی جامعه است.
Well, since we have a vibrant media back in Afghanistan, so that's why our media, they have got their different audience and viewers. So, but if we talk generally, the media and the people, they have a kind of common ground where they have good relations with each other. For example, in Afghanistan, if somebody is facing with a very small problem, the first thing which comes in their mind is which media outlet they should contact to report their problem. So that is something quite, you know, unusual back in Afghanistan.
And more or less it is the same case in Pakistan as well. You know, many people also rely on media.
Exactly. در پاکستان هم همینطور میگن مردم به اینجا اتکا میکنن. So that's why people believe that the base, you know, to reflect their problems and to have their voices heard is the media. So that's why, you know, people believe, because people have seen, you know, the impact of it. So that's why they feel like whatever happens in their life, the first thing they do, they just call a media and they say that this has happened to me, please report it.
در کنار رسانه‌های دیداری و شنیداری، رسانه‌های مجازی هم در افغانستان نقش بسیار ارزشمندی دارند. از جمله فیسبوک، توییتر و سایت‌ها اینا هم برای نقد جامعه هم برای اطلاع رسانی کارهای ارزشمندی را انجام میدن که این بخش هم نمیتونیم ما نادیده بگیریم و رشد روزافزونی در افغانستان داره.
And in addition, of course, to digital media, we have got, of course, the social media as well, like Twitter and Facebook, which is playing a very, very important role in Afghanistan, especially in kind of criticizing the bad policies of the government and in telling the government that what things they should do and what they shouldn't. So that's why we believe that it is rising and it's rising in a good way.
اگر یکی از نمونه‌ها را ما اشاره بکنیم، آقای قادری یکی از کسایی هستند که فعالترین آدم در میان نسل امروز در افغانستان در توییتر هستند و توییتر از اینا به عنوان یک منبع در افغانستان و رسانه‌های بین‌المللی استفاده میشه و از خبرهایی که اینا نشر میکنند در توییتر استفاده بیشتر رسانه‌های داخلی و رسانه‌های بیرونی میکنه و خودش نشان میده که چقدر تاثیرگذاری داره رسانه‌ها.
It's a bit of conflict of interest, but still I will translate. So Mr. Fitra says that, for example, you know, to bring the importance of social media, for example, he points out to my Twitter account and he says that normally whatever I post it, the international media picks it up as a kind of breaking news or a source of reliable news. So that shows that how media has been playing a very important role, especially with the younger generation's approach. And that means that, you know, we need more of this, but of course people will be continuing to do that.
Right. Mr. Ansari, many young journalists, many young people, students have been visiting Pakistan. They visit Pakistan. There are thousands of Afghan students who are getting educated in Pakistan. Many from Pakistan visit Afghanistan. Do you think that we need to have more people-to-people interaction? We need to have more student exchange programs so that we can know each other, and specifically journalists?
دقیقاً هر دو کشور در بخش تحصیلات عالی ارتباطات خوب دارند. سالانه هزارها محصل افغان یا دانشجوی افغان میان برای ادامه تحصیلات عالیشان به پاکستان و برشان اسکولارشیپ داده میشه که بر شمال افغانستان هم محروم از این نبوده و چند روز پیش ما شاهد آزمون بزرگی بودیم از دانشجویان افغان که به خاطر پیشبرد تحصیلات عالیشان آزمون سپری کردن و قرار است بیان به پاکستان. پاکستان در شمال افغانستان دانشگاه بزرگ را ایمار کرده که هم میتونن نقش بزرگ را داشته باشن میان هر دو کشور. بله، چرا میتونن نقش خوب را داشته باشن برای بهبود روابط و برای تقویت هر دو کشور.
I do believe that actually it plays a very important role in building a bridge between the two countries. For example, Mr. Ansari points out to a very recent exam that the Pakistani embassy back in Afghanistan, especially in Kabul and in the north of the country, they launched an examination for Afghan students to apply for scholarships, and thousands of them actually approached and participated. That Mr. Ansari's TV and my TV channel and both Dr. Fitra's TV channel, we all covered it. And he says that, you know, that shows people still have really good views towards Pakistan, and they believe that Pakistan is a good destination for taking an education. And then Mr. Ansari also adds that there is a university donated by the Pakistani government back in our city in Mazar-e Sharif, that each day when we pass by it, we feel really proud that, you know, we have got this kind of good neighboring country that, you know, they are doing such a good stuff in our education sector.
Right. And my question to you, that both countries have been fighting this extremism and terrorism. We also heard some blame game and blame rhetoric from both sides. But do you think now is the time that we should, you know, leave the politics aside, and this is the time that people from both countries should move forward and talk about the solution, talk about peace building, and talk about how to move forward and defeat the common enemy and the common foe?
I definitely do. I think we have had, at least our generation back in Afghanistan, we have had enough of blame game politics. And if you check, you know, our social media as well, I think that is one of the top things that the younger generation say, please stop it, because we have had enough of it. I think the best solution now is for us to sit together, for the governments to sit together, and especially for the younger generations to come together and well understand each other. I think the petty politics, none of the countries goes anywhere, to be honest. So we will end up, you know, in another sort of dispute. So that's why it is based for both countries, I believe, and our generation believes, to find some other common grounds rather than, you know, I don't know, the issues that they have, which we have got loads and loads. For example, let me point out to one of your good programs that the Pakistani government recently did. I don't know which department it was, but they did some joint programs with a private TV channel, and they were showing like cooking back in Pakistan, in Afghanistan.
That was on PTV, by the way.
Oh, that's fantastic then. Okay, that's fantastic then. Tourism, like for example, traditions. So we need to do more of that. A girl and a boy,
they were there in Afghanistan, and they were having a program on PTV, and I think the anchor Hifzat Jalani is one of PTV's anchors, and that was a wonderful program. And Mr. Fitra, that kind of coverage is needed on both sides. That we have common culture, we have common language as well. There are many Farsi-speaking people in Pakistan as well, and we can promote cultural values, and we can also have exchange programs of cultural delegations as well. And maybe the journalists and the media people, obviously, they can promote the culture and the common values the most in both countries.
واقعا میگن ما مثلا در اینجا در پاکستان کسایی داریم که فارسی گپ میزنن، ما منافع مشترک و ارزش‌های مشترک داریم. به اون خاطر فکر میکنم که شاید بتونه نسل جدید حتی مثلا هیئت‌های فرهنگی در هر دو کشور رفت آمد بکنن تا اینکه مسائل و ارزش‌های فرهنگی را بین یکی دیگه خود.
Since you are the head of national TV, so your TV obviously can.
ما با آنکه در اصل بسیار با هم نزدیک هستیم، اما ظاهرا بسیار فاصله داریم. دلیل فاصله داشتن ما متاسفانه مشکلاتی بوده که در سالهای اخیر رونما شده، اما ما میتونیم این نزدیکی را دوباره احیا بکنیم. نسل نو میتونه در این رابطه نقش بسیار ارزشمندی داشته باشه. ما نقاط پیوند عمیق داریم، اما این نقاط باید شناسایی بکنیم و روی از تمرکز بکنیم که چگونه از اون نقاط استفاده مثبت انجام بدیم.
Yes, I do believe, even though, you know, we have very strong bounds with, the two nations have got very strong bounds. However, technically, we are very, very distant and far away from each other. So Mr. Fitra says that, you know, we have got loads of things that we can agree on and we can enjoy and avail ourselves of. So that's why it's based for the younger generations, for the reporters, for the younger generation, for the educated people to come together and find the common grounds where they can work on and they can promote it and increase awareness for the people so that they can, both countries should agree on, and they should think that okay, this is the common thing that we can work out.
اما قدره که تروریسم سبب ازی شده که ما را از هم فاصله بده، با اونمو حد مشترکات زیادی است که میتونه ما را با هم خیلی ها نزدیک بکنه و این پیوندها را عمیق بسازه.
Same like terrorism, which has, you know, made the two nations apart. There are cultural stuff which can bring the two nations together. So that's why we need to work on the cultural stuff so that they can come together and then we can work jointly to fight against terrorism.
یکی از نمونه‌هایی را که در این رابطه آدم میتونه به او اشاره بکنه، بزرگترین نماد بین هر دو کشور علامه اقبال لاهوری است. اقبال لاهوری را امروز در افغانستان هر کس میشناسه، در هر کتابخانه و در هر کتاب فروشی افغانستان آثار علامه اقبال لاهوری پیدا میشه. این میتونه نقطه بسیار مشترک بین هر دو کشور باشه که ما این از اینجا آغاز بکنیم و این را پیوند بدیم و پیوند دادن از این نقش مهمتر از همه رسانه‌ها داره در هر دو کشور.
For example, one of the key points which can bring together the two nations together is Allama Iqbal Lahori. He is so well known and iconic in Afghanistan that you can find his books almost in every library back in the country. So why should we not promote that? Why should we, both medias, the countries, medias in both countries, why should they not promote that? To tell people that, look, we have got common grounds that we can be proud of, rather than, you know, petty games or petty politics.
Right. Mr. Ansari, I'm going to also question you about the economics as well, the economy of both countries, and also the security affair as well. Pakistan and Afghanistan can certainly work on a lot of economic projects, on big development projects for that matter. Do you think that now it is the right time for both the governments and the people to also start working on economic and developmental programs in the region? And also we'll discuss about security in a while, but first economy.
هر دو کشور نیازمند صلح است تا بیشتر کار کنند. اگر هر دو کشور باثبات شود، سودش به هر دو میرسه و منافع به هر دویش میرسه. پاکستان میتونه که از طریق افغانستان به آسیای مرکزی وصل شود و از اون طریق انرژی وارداتی داشته باشه. به این شکل میتونه افغانستان برای پاکستان به آسیای میانه درب تجارتی باشه. بدون شک میتونه هر دو کشور در قسمت رشد اقتصاد با هم برنامه‌های مشترک داشته باشند و زمان این برنامه‌ها میتونه تطبیق شود که هر دو کشور با ثبات باشه و امنیت برگرده به هر دو کشور.
Peace and security and stability, they are the key factors for a country, for the economy to improve. So that's why Mr. Ansari says that I do believe that, you know, prosperity in Pakistan is prosperity for Afghanistan, and likewise prosperity for Afghanistan is prosperity for Pakistan. So I do believe Ansari says that, you know, if we have security in Afghanistan, we can be a corridor for Pakistan to have access to Central Asian countries. So that's why I believe that, you know, it is the right time for the nations to come together so that they can improve their cultural and economic, you know, relations.
And in that case, my question is to you, that security, working on the security is also very important and crucial. How do you think that both countries can work on having a better security? And, you know, because both have been struck by worst terrorism in the world, I would say. The way people in Afghanistan have been hit by extremism and terrorism, the way people in Pakistan have been hit by terrorism. How do you think that we can move forward and work jointly on improving the security situation?
That's very true that Pakistan and Afghanistan, they have been the victims of terrorism. I think the best way that I would propose is that we need a roadmap. Both countries actually need a roadmap that they can sit together, put their differences aside, put some priorities, working alongside the border so that they can have some more restrictions alongside the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan, and then, you know, help each other in encountering terrorists. Because Pakistan, I think, can be a very good partner of Afghanistan. We in Afghanistan believe that without Pakistan, we can get to no peace in Afghanistan. So that is something we believe, and that is something our younger generation believes. So that's why I think it's the best time that for both countries to sit together. A prosperous region is for the benefit of both countries, because we have got loads actually to celebrate, we have got loads to enjoy, and we have got loads to avail ourselves of. So I think this is the best time, this is the best opportunity for both countries, and I think, you know, if they put their differences aside and if they come to a common ground, we will have, you know, we will have prosperity, and we will have a splendid, you know, future.
Mr. Fitrat, talking about security, there's also some lack of trust, honestly speaking. Both countries have to work on that. Last 15 years have seen some ups and downs in the relations. How do you think that both countries can work on having a better understanding of each other and the situation of the security in the region?
عدم اعتماد وجود داره میان دو کشور. فکر می‌کنی چگونه ما میتونیم اعتماد سازی بکنیم؟
اما قسمی که تروریسم دشمن مشترک هر دو کشور است و این چالش بسیار کلان را بین روابط هر دو کشور ایجاد کرده. مبارزه مشترک و صادقانه هر دو کشور میتونه که اعتماد بیشتر بسازه. تبادل اطلاعات میان هر دو کشور، میان نهادهای امنیتی هر دو کشور میتونه اعتماد بیشتر بسازه و عمیق ساختن روابط در بین مردم هر دو کشور و بیشتر تمرکز ما روی کار رسانه‌ای میان هر دو کشور و رفت و آمد میان مردم هر دو کشور را میتونه بیشتر بسازه. مهمترین بخشش که ما میتونیم به او تمرکز بکنیم این است که تبادل اطلاعات میان نهادهای استخباراتی و امنیتی هر دو کشور وجود داشته باشه و آنچه که در هر دو طرف در مبارزه علیه تروریسم صورت میگیره به صورت صادقانه تبادله شه و این میتونه بسیار موثر باشه.
Yes, I do believe that, you know, we need some more cooperation between the two countries. There is, yes, distrust amongst the two nations. However, I want the governments, but there is still hope amongst the two nations. So Mr. Fitrat says that I believe that with building some kind of bridges between the two nations, by having cooperation of intelligence amongst the two countries, and by focusing more on improving cultural activities between the two countries, I think we can build up that trust that we have longed for.
Mr. Ansari, do you think that Pakistan and Afghanistan, the people of both countries, are now on their way to having better relations and better understanding of each other?
نسل نوین میتونه نقش خوب را بازی کنه، اما حالا باورها بیشتر شده. مثلا من که در مورد از پاکستان چهره دیگری داشتم، اما حالا آمدم واقعا دیدم که حرف جای دیگر است. اگر ارتباطات بیشتر شود، اما قسمی که دوستای ما اشاره کردن، اطلاعات استخباراتی مبادله شود و سال به هر دو کشور برگرده و چون هر دو کشور قربانی تروریسم است، میتونه نقش مهمی را داشته باشه.
So Mr. Ansari says that I believe that the younger generation is rising, and we hope and we are quite hopeful and optimistic that this younger generation can lead us to some sort of prosperity. So he believes that I think that we need to have some more exchanges, more cultural exchanges, more intelligence in exchanges, so that the both countries, because we do know our joint enemy is terrorism, so both countries can fight, and then, you know, that is the joint enemy we both have.
Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Pleasure having all of you on our program, on the special program. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Tahir Qadi, thank you for your time. Mr. Bashir Ansari, thank you. Thank you for your time. Mr. Zabi Fitrat, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for you.
Today was a special program with our Afghan friends. On this program, we talked about diplomacy, we talked about people-to-people interaction and how we are going to improve the security situation and better understanding of each other on both sides. The young generation certainly have a very positive role to play, and they are playing a very positive role in bringing a better understanding of each other's culture, about the people of Pakistan and also about the people of Afghanistan. In future, we also hope that the Afghan journalists would also be visiting Pakistan, and the Pakistani journalists would also be visiting Afghanistan, and mutually we can work for the betterment in the region. Thank you for watching today's program. See you next time. Khuda Hafiz.
The ancient city of Taxila is the heart of stonework in Pakistan. This art, which has been preserved and practiced for centuries, can be seen on many major landmarks of the country. Notably, the Pietra Dura work in the Lahore Fort's Sheesh Mahal. These stone products take days to complete and require immense precision and skill from the craftsmen. The final products are perfect for souvenirs, gifts and decoration pieces, each depicting the richness of Pakistani culture at its best. Camel skin and ivory craft are trademarks of Multan's handicraft repertoire. Camel skin is cleaned, dried and mounted onto molds which can be of any shape desired.
The word, and that will hand over election victory to us.
Mr. Haris Khalik, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Mr. Jansik Zaid, pleasure having you on the program. Today we discussed about the present political scenario in the country, and certainly there are challenges for both PMLN, PTI and also for People's Party and other political parties. They have to do away with all the, let's say, grievances and apprehensions of the people at the grassroots level. The new Prime Minister Shahid Khan Abbasi, has said and directed the ministers that they should now focus and emphasize on the ongoing projects, and this is the way PMLN is going to improve its image which, in the future. For Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, we still have to see what their strategy would be from now on for PMLN and for the politics at large in the country. Thank you for watching today's program. See you next time. Khuda Hafiz. Raw inside Afghanistan, Ahsanullah Ahsan, the spokesperson of TTP, and also Kulbhushan Yadav, the Indian agent who was working inside Pakistan, they have accepted that RAW is directly involved in Afghanistan, as Jansa was saying, and in Pakistan as well. Do you think that Afghanistan would realize that, and India would realize that this sort of mechanism is not going to help either India or Afghanistan? You can't beat Pakistan and stay safe and stay peaceful. You have to work against these terrorists that you are funding. We have to give this message very clearly to India and Afghanistan.
Well, before what we say to Afghanistan, it's very important that our narrative we continue to flag to Afghanistan and the US that Pakistan's national security is paramount. What it means is that if Afghanistan's territory is used against Pakistan's stability, if Pakistan's stability is undermined through financing, through Indian financing, through use of Afghanistan territory, and through other proxy groups who are based in Afghanistan against Pakistan's stability, then we have got a problem. And that's why whenever there is a conversation on Afghanistan, whenever there is a conversation on Afghanistan, there must be a conversation on Pakistan's core concerns regarding its national security, and that is India's role there. That is Chuck Hagel. He was saying that India is financing problem for Pakistan via Afghanistan. Then we had Kulbhushan network. We smashed who was operating within this region, and it was destabilizing Pakistan through Balochistan. The third was, as you mentioned, Ahsanullah Ahsan, the TTP spokesperson, ex-spokesperson, was also watching for what the Indians were doing on the other side of Afghanistan. Having said that, there should be no calm about it. At the moment, we have a very much a divergence with the US as to our concerns on India, their role in Afghanistan. It's a suspicious role. It's not only for peace. It's not only for development of Afghanistan. Simply, India is thinks that it is becoming what it believes, the America of this region, so it has every right to be dictating what it believes is near abroad, within this region. That means from South Asian neighbors to West Asian neighbors, from Bhutan to Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan as well. And this is simply Pakistan cannot jeopardize its own national interests and its national security. Right. Afghanistan is our neighbor. Anything happening in Afghanistan would have a negative impact on Pakistan. So that is our narrative, and that we should continue to be.
And by the way, thousands of people, Afghan people, they are given the visas to Pakistan. They can come over here, they can have the health facilities, they can study over here. Pakistan has been helping the people of Afghanistan. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Mr. Jana Chaksey, thank you for joining us. General Raza Mohammad Khan, pleasure having you on the program. Today we discussed about the Pakistan and Afghanistan relations. Pakistan military is now going for a military operation, and that is Khyber 4 in the Khyber Agency. This operation is against the terrorists who have their hideouts inside Pakistan. This is what Pakistan has been doing for the last many years. We have successfully eliminated the terrorists inside Pakistan. Now the thing is that the ball is in Afghanistan's court. We will see how Afghanistan would act against those terrorists who have their safe havens inside Afghanistan. There were some very important points made by General Raza, and I would conclude my program on those points. And the 3 points are that Afghanistan has to ensure, and Pakistan would work with Afghanistan only when Afghanistan and the Afghanistan government would accept Pakistan-Afghanistan border, when they would stop raw operations inside Afghanistan, and also when they would hand over the terrorists to Pakistan who have their safe havens in Afghanistan. Thank you for watching today's program. See you next time. Khuda Hafiz. With China as well, on the border with China. This whole thing of showing aggression to Pakistan and to China, would this help India to become, let's say, a regional power, or the way they dream of becoming the world power?
I guess that's a a false understanding of becoming a regional power that India has to have a fight on with India and with Pakistan and China at the same time. I guess the only way they could become a good or regional power is to become inclusive in this project of One Belt, One Road or Belt and Road initiative, and to have normal relationship with all its neighbor. But coming back to the questions which you have asked, Brady said, and Mr. Yasir as well, I guess the answer from the Pakistani side is how we could achieve this particular success in international arena. Another is, the only answer, in my opinion, is we should focus on Pakistan-China economic corridor. And if we become economically stable, if we become economically more powerful, that is an answer to the situation which India is creating.
To all the designs.
To all the designs that they have. Right. We have to make sure that CPEC is successful. And if CPEC is successful, India's objective would automatically fail in this region.
Right. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Brigadier Sadanzeed, pleasure having you on the program. Mr. Yasir, thank you for your time. Mr. Humayun Khan, thank you for joining us. Today we discussed about the way the Indian intelligence agency has been supporting and financing the terrorists inside Afghanistan to attack Pakistan. Pakistan has made it very clear that Pakistan is going to eliminate all the terrorists physically and also the ideology that promotes extremism and terrorism. While Pakistan is striving for peace and stability in the region, while Pakistan and China both are trying for peace and stability in the region, we also expect India and Afghanistan to do the same. But at the same time, Pakistan has more options as well. Pakistan is going to take a stern action against the perpetrators and also the supports, the financiers of terrorism and extremism. Operation Raddul Fasad continues successfully, and this is an operation that is there to eliminate the mindset that promotes extremism and terrorism. Thank you for watching today's program. See you next time. Khuda Hafiz.